So the more inner work we do, the greater external successes we have. It's really as simple as that, and is also as challenging as that.
What does that solitude look like, and what's the work that somebody is doing when they're in that place?
Yeah. So the solitude is very deliberate. It was me saying, I need to stop distracting myself. Now, that's not to say I can't have joy and fun and play, because that's an integral part of the healing process, pleasure back into the body. But it's the right kind of pleasure. It's pleasure that you're aware of. It's not distracting pleasure. It's not, I don't want to face this thing that I need to look at, and therefore I'm going to go and eat food, or I'm going to go have sex. It's more, right now in this moment, I'm becoming dysregulated. I've pushed my edges. I need to regulate myself. One of the ways I'm going to regulate myself is I'm going to resource myself. It could be with some slow breathing. And then I'm going to maybe have some fruit, or go for a walk in nature, or go jump in the ocean, and put pleasure back in my nervous system. And I'll live to fight another day, and I'll attack this thing, or I'll face this thing, or I'll work with this thing tomorrow or the day after, or whenever the cycle is there. During the process, I created this cyclical process for actually working with pain, just by being with it. But the solitude question is spending a lot of time by myself, really just being with me, being with my thoughts, being with my body, being with my movement, being with my tears, being with my anger, being with my emotions, like letting them. I spent many a day, many hours on that lounge room floor, just emoting and being uncontrollably, and facing some very dark aspects of myself, demonic aspects of myself, if you like really real dense shadow parts of me that I had been suppressing and repressing, because I thought society doesn't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I've been told that I'm ugly. I don't mean physically ugly. I mean my expression is ugly. So let me just dump that. Let me just stuff it away. But it's there, and it's part of who I am. So I had to bring all of that up. Now, I would do some work with a counselor, or a shaman, or a spiritual healer, or an energy worker, or a coach, or whatever. And then I would take that, and I would be in that. I would be in that by myself. That was what solitude was like for me. It was less contact with people, which was hard for some of my friends. And during that process, I had to let go of some friendships, not because they did anything wrong, but because I was changing as a person. And what those friendships were perpetuating was an old version of me. You want to quit heroin, you've got to get out of the smack house. It's as simple as that. And they were my smack house. So I had to get out of what was validating unhealthy behavior. And that was really tough, because these friendships were very loyal. I'm talking about their friendships that I could call them at any point and say, I need you right now. They'd be there. They didn't do anything wrong, just outgrowing each other in that way. And that was very difficult, because they had forged my identity. They had been my rocks for so long, shared everything, such diverse experiences. And beyond that, they were also, because they were childhood friends, they were also friendships that pulled me out of my violent home. I was able to spend time with them. I saw them at some level. My teenage boy, my even pre-teenage boy saw us as a savior. And so I had to work with that in my nervous system as well. And so the solitude was really just being with self, and all aspects, all facets, all expressions, all layers of who I was, which was very confronting.
How long were you in solitude? A type of solitude?
Sure. At least 18 months in this sort of deep, extended, and that doesn't mean I didn't see anyone. Of course I saw people, and I definitely had friendships still. I just really distanced myself from a lot. And then I started to emerge sort of out of that cocoon. There was still deep work to do after that, but it was a transition. I didn't have to be in that much solitude anymore. At least I felt that, right? Mm-hmm. And still, I valued solitude because I experienced the deep wisdom that came from it. And so it was something that was very important to me still, but I was able to transition from that amount of solitude, maybe call it extreme solitude, into living a more harmonious life and allowing people in to this newer version of me, or the newer version of me that was emerging, I should say. Yeah.
Beautiful. It didn't remind me particularly, but as you were talking about friendships, a moment struck in my head. It's from my favorite movie, Good Will Hunting, There's a point where Matt Damon's character and Ben Affleck's character, it's towards the end of the movie, where Matt Damon argues as to why is it that is not okay for him to, you know, pick up bricks and do construction work. And then Ben Affleck's character says something to the tune of, you think you're doing, if you don't live your life fully, you think you are staying with us would mean that you are helping us. But that's not actually true. You're the only person that is our gateway out. If you do something with your life because you're so smart, I'm paraphrasing all of what he says, but the essence was you getting out is for us to see that we can get out in a way.
It's the allegory of the cave, man. Plato's allegory of the cave
Yeah.
at some level, right?
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
It's really powerful. And I think that is consciously or unconsciously what you may have done for your friends while taking that solitude and saying no, even while it was hard and even when it was difficult. And sometimes we have to do that, to be that light, to be that example, to be that person that maybe they need in their life to be able to go, oh, okay. If that person who's my buddy, who's my childhood buddy, they may not see it immediately. Of course, that doesn't happen all the time. But what at least in my experience has happened is more I've stepped away. I've met friends 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years later, 10 years later, where 10 years ago they were like, that's just an idiot. What is he doing with his life? And 10 years later, they see me today and they're like, wow, how can we have your life? Right? What is it that we missed? What's the difference? Because we both started at the same place. For that matter, most of the time they started ahead. They're like, what happened? Where did we lose path? And it was more because people like us are willing to sit down with ourselves and say, what do I truly want? What is it that who I am? And so I can be in alignment with it. And when you're in alignment with it, initially it looks silly and hard and difficult. But eventually, that's the path to great joy and alignment and bliss and creating things in our lives that we always wanted to create and getting really in that place of joy with life or flow with life.
I think, Ajit, to sum up what you just said then, and you said it very eloquently, for me, and what's been very true for me and so many people that I've worked with over the years as clients, the deeper the inner work and the more we focus on our internal self and life becomes an inside out reflection as opposed to an outside in reflection, the greater external success we have. So the more inner work we do, the greater external successes we have. It's really as simple as that and is also as challenging as that.